Hey, what's going on, guys? Thank you for hanging out with us. You asked for him and we got him, Lupe Fiasco. First things first, why don't you give me the rundown of the new album, March 8th, Lasers.
New album in stores, March 8th, Lasers. You just said verbatim. It's my third studio album. Last album was in 2007, so it's been 3 years and some change. Fan-demanded, controversial, petition-causing, protest-inspiring album. It's a good feeling to know that the fan reaction to it being held up for so long, culminated into an actual protest. It's exciting. It's fantastic. I'm happy. I'm amazed. It's great. Great film.
For those that don't know, there was kind of a delay on the album. They weren't moving along with it as quickly as they should have. What'd that petition end up getting up to?
29,000. Wow. Or something like that. 29 to 30,000 or something like that. And the protest was actually supposed to be 1,000 people. They had an RSVP, like 1,000 people flying in from all over the world to come in. And then in the midst of that, they got a release date. And so even with them getting a release date, which was the point of the protest, there was still, I think, like 250 people that came down to actually protest. So
who's going to be featured on there? Who are the producers?
Neptunes.
Okay.
Working with Needles. Working on my man Soundtrack, who's responsible for all my hits, Kick Push, Superstar. I work with a production duo called the Buchanans. A new up-and-coming producer by the name of King David. I work with the Neptunes, that's a Neptune. I work with Trey Songz, work with John Legend. Not too many other rappers. I work with my homie Sway, who's a UK hip-hop artist, which is pretty cool. What's the biggest difference with this album compared to the past two? This one's probably a little bit more popular. Not really pop, but it just the sound of the album is way more. There's some club records on the album. You know what I'm saying? Wow. Which is pretty interesting. On purpose though, it was like, yo, you never did like a really real club record. So why don't you do a club record? I said, okay, it's a club record. And it's a massive, crazy club record. There's some very controversial records on that. I always talk about, like I'll talk about social things. I have my social commentary and different things like that throughout my albums. But this album, there's a song called, which is actually the next single, called Words I Never Said, which is a proper controversial kind of record, touching on a lot of the kind of a lot of the stuff that's going on in the news, and it's only controversial because it's the truth. You know what I'm saying?
I think you've had probably 16 different titles for this album. Why all the different name changes?
What it was LUPN was supposed to be like a 3-disc set, which is what I wanted to do, and it was really like, I had 2 albums. I have after Lasers, I have 3 more albums with my record company, and I just wanted to kind of do 3 like in one big shot, but released over like a year and a half, and that idea just kind of fizzled out. Great American Rap album is actually the next album. Okay. Leak that out there. It's the next album after this album, which is maybe like 80% done. And you gotta think, like, doing Lasers, we were doing it for so long, we were like, all right, let's do something else, you know what I'm saying? And 2 years into it, you come up with 2-3 different albums, you know what I'm saying? But Lasers is the title that stuck. It stands for love always shines every time. Remember to smile.
So there's not going to be a huge gap between this album and the next album like last time then, right?
Only if this album is a massive, one of those kind of long-lasting, massive successes,
For the longest time, everybody was saying that this third album was going to be the last one. Can you kind of address those rumors?
This album almost didn't happen.
Okay.
So, it wasn't that it wasn't that this was going to be my last album. LUPN would have been my last album, because it would have been the 3-album kind of project, and we'd have probably put out like a greatest hits just to end out the contract, and then I would have went indie or went to did other music or went to another label or whatever. But I still have 3 more albums to do.
Are you sick and tired of music? It seems like you want to get out of there, and you just got here.
Everybody who you just see isn't just, Lady Gaga, for instance. She's been on the scene forever.
Right.
It's just now the time has come where it's her time, and it's that for every artist. Everybody that that unless it's somebody that's you see on a reality show and they're like, yo, I want to sing, and they got an album out next month or something like that. But mostly for the regular musicians that you see coming through, or rappers or singers or whatever, you know, most of us have been doing it for a very long time. You know, I got my first record deal, major record deal in 2000. You know what I'm saying? So it's been there 10 years later, you know, kind of just getting there. But the business it wears you down. You know what I'm saying? Like the music is great, money is what it is. The touring is great, the fans are great, but the business and everything that goes behind that can get kind of taxing, get kind of tired.